Vishilashta tered meod, and in 3 days you'll go down a lot. Now it's written, you will be for me a treasure from all the nations. That from, you don't read it, so read it from, that through using or through the concept of all of the nations you make for me a treasure. Inyan, the concept to kinidua, inyan gimel gavni hakeshes, it's known the 3 colors of the rainbow, shem shem cham v'yofes, that they correspond with the 3 sons of Noach. I guess it's like RGB colors. V'isa b'zohar HaKadosh parshas Noach tafayin beis beis lo titzapid l'ragli d'Mashiach. It says, don't search for the legs of Mashiach until you see the rainbow and its brilliant colors, because they are a concept of a high supernal surrounding light. So the concept of how godliness surrounds all of creation. Like it says, it's a sign of a covenant between me and you. I'm bezohar parshas Noach, ayin aleph amud beis. My kashti, what does it say? My rainbow, kamad itmar b'Yosef, like it says by Yosef, tichsiv ateshev be'itan kashto, that his bow was dwelled in a place of strength. So kashti is also a language of like the bris milah. That's called a kashrus, but it's a concept of a bris, that the surrounding light is a covenant beyond the rational. That's why it's a covenant. Perush eitan kemush kazbigeras hakodesh al pasuk v'tzedakah kanachal eitan. And on the concept of Ateshev Be'etan Kashto, the concept of Eitan, of strength, it's like it says in Geras HaKodesh, that charity is like a strong river. Oh, so what's Nachal Eitan? B'chinas Yisod Abba. It's the concept of Yisod, of Abba. It's not just the lower level of Yisod, but it's the Yisod of parts of Abba, corresponding with Chochmah. And it's known that in the union of the 2 partsufim of Abba and Nima, you draw down from Chochmah and Bina, you draw down also from Keser and Atik, all the way up to Ein Sof, like it says on the dwelling place of the testimony and so forth. So what does it mean then? And that his Eitan will dwell, his kashrus will dwell in the Eitan. Yisod Zah Sheb'chinas Yosef. So the Kashto, that's Yisod Zah of Yosef, Yisod of Zeranpin. Mis'ala liyospo gam kin agilu b'chinas Eitan will also have the revelation as well. It will be elevated to the level of Eitan, which we said was Yisod Abba. So Yisod Zah will go up to Yisod Abba. So a Teshev Be'eitan Kashto. So the Kashto will be Teshev, will sit and dwell in the Eitan. When this is like it says in another place on the verse, then the mountains will falter, but the covenant of my peace will not falter. So Bris Shlomi refers to Yisod of Atik, all the way up to Yisod of Atik, the covenant of my peace. That unites Soviv Kol Almin to the worlds. That's Yisod of Atik. Zeu Inin. But And this is the concept of that you'll see the rainbow in brilliant colors. That you'll reveal this level of Eitan. Parsha Noach, Parsha Lamed V'Haisa Keshes Be'anan. V'Risiel Iskorbis Olam Bein Elokim Moving Kol Nefesh Chaya. So it says on the verse that the rainbow will be in the cloud, and I'll see it to remember a covenant of the world between Elokim and between the soul of all living, of all life. What does it say in the Medrash Rabbah? Bein Elokim Zumidas Hadin, between Elokim, that's the attribute of judgment. Shlomayla above, Bein Kol Nefesh Chaya, in between all life of soul, Zumidas Hadin Shalamata. So that refers to the attribute of judgment as well. Below. Elokim above, Din above, and Nefesh Chaya, Din below. Perush Elokim, Hainu B'chinas Bina. So what level are they? Elokim is the concept of Bina. I guess, and through the rainbow, you draw down the union of Abba and Ima, Bein Kol Nefesh Chaya B'chinas Malchus, and the life of all soul. That's the concept of Malchus, Shu Yichud Zur, which is the union of Za and Nukva. So that's the concept of Bain. That's a breeze between them. The Keshes. Keshes Udavka Be'anon, but the rainbow specifically in the cloud. Vaya Ba'anani Anon, when I specifically make clouds. When you rasa Keshes Hulu, that's when you'll see the rainbow. V'lo yeh mabul, and you will not have a flood. V'kamushkos Kamari HaKeshes Yeh Be'anon B'yom Hagashem, like it says, like the vision of the rainbow that will be in the cloud on the day of rain. Kin Mare Hanogas Aviv, so too is the vision of the light that surrounds, which is the likeness of the vision of the likeness of the honor of Hashem. That is to say, that there will not be a flood because of the blemish of the lower worlds, because this rainbow stops it. And the reason is specifically that it's in the cloud, because that's when you have the revelation of the rainbow. And who in the concept is that when the sun shines onto the cloud, and then the light reflects off the cloud, and that's the rainbow. So you need the cloud to refract the light. And the concept is because you have a straightforward light and a reflected light. So the rainbow is specifically a reflected light. That's the point. So what's a straightforward light? That's the one that comes down and is drawn from above, from the infinite light, may be blessed, almost to the worlds. And in order to draw down from the infinite to the worlds, it's through the name Yud Kevavke, Yud Simtsum Ke Hispashtus Vav Hamshacha Chulu, that the Yud is the contraction and the He spreads out and the Vav draws down. So that's all or Yasha, the straightforward process of the light shining from above. Vor chozer hu ha los my nukvir milam Mila Lamata. It says Milamila Lamata. It should probably be Milamata Lamaila. It's the feminine waters from below to above. Yidua dor chozer umachmas hahester. And it's known that the reflected light is because of the hiding. Kamo machmas hakos hashemesh ba'aretz. Like when the light hits the earth. Nase or avir hatachton cham yoseh, then the lowest atmosphere becomes the warmest. Warmer me'avir ha'emtzai, yoseh me'avir ha'emtzai, more than the middle atmosphere. Chulu v'kach me'akas hashemesh ba'anan, so too when the light hits the cloud, when the sun hits the cloud, sha'anan hu choshech, that the cloud is darkness, umastir, and hides, me'akas hashemesh bo, nase or chozer, and when the light of the sun hits it, it becomes a reflected light. V'hu hakeshes, and that's the rainbow. V'chein lamayla yesh eser sfiros dor yasher melamayla lamata. So that's physically, but spiritually as well, you have 10 spheros of straightforward light from above to below. V'eser sfiros dor chozer melamata lamayla, and 10 spheros of the reflected light from below to above. Shalidei haparsa amavsekes, that through the curtain that divides b'siyum hatzilus, at the end of the level of atzilus, bokim ha'oros, the lights break through. V'olim bebechinas or chozer, they hit over there, and they, so to speak, get reflected backwards. V'nase keser chochma bina melamata, and then it starts the spheres again from below. Keser chochma bina from below. So the light shines all the way from the top of atzilus to the bottom, keser chochma bina, from above to below, and then it hits the bottom, and it breaks through, and it also reflects upwards, and the spheres start from keser chochma bina from below. Obir ze ba'adam lamata, and the explanation of this in man below, who v'ahavta savai b'chol b'chol meodach, it says that you should love Hashem with all your might, u'me'odu bli gvul, and with all your might is without boundary. V'aynu b'chinas ein sof, that is the concept of infinite. V'nimshach m'sibas ha'hester shel ha'nefesh ha'bahamis, and this is drawn also from the hiding of the animalistic soul, the haguf, and the body, shemastirim al nefesh elukis, that hide the godly soul. M'sibas hester zeh, because of this hiding, she'ein maniach li'spashet lamata, that it does not allow the light to go all the way down. This causes a reflected light from below to above, that the light of the soul wants to shine in. It wants to shine and express itself in this world, but you can't. So therefore, it causes this reflected light when it tries to go in, because the body, the animal soul, it covers, it hides, it doesn't allow it to go in. Therefore, it causes you to make an extra effort of beyond, and that's the reflected light. With all of your might, and that's the concept. That's like drawing down keser. Like we said, that with the reflected light from below becomes keser chochma bina. And this is what it says from the tight place I have called out, Anani b'merchav, and you have answered me in the wide place. That from the contracted place, the tight place of the worlds that hide and confine al or ein sof, on the infinite light, nasa merchav. So because of that, it becomes wide, with all of your might, without any boundary. And just like a shofar, that one side is narrow and one side is wide. And it says in the Shulei Hagalayim, so over here in the written version, it has a comment that's torn. We can only see the letters Isa Tikunim Shfarim Trua. Now the comment on this idea of the shofar that says in Tikunim and about Shfarim Trua, and that's all we know. So some kind of comment about Shfarim Trua has to do with the idea of the Orchozer from the Meitzar to the Merchav. And therefore, because of this concept, when Yecheskel saw the vision of the rainbow, Epol al panai, it says, I fell upon my face, because with this concept of the reflected light, Harehu Bechinas Ein Sof, it's a concept of Ein Sof, it's revelation of Keser. Hainu Bechinas Keser Chulu. Which is not the case when he first saw the vision of a man. He was able to handle it, but when it came to the rainbow, it was the Chozer and a Giloi Keser, and he fell upon his face. Now that's from the reflected light, but the straightforward light also has this concept of from the confined. And that is that first is drawn in a confined way in the Yud. And afterwards, you answer me with the Y and with the width in an expansive way. That's the Hey. Now there's no drop that comes down from above. There isn't two drops that come up from below. Yain Sham, look over there. Bigamara Tainis Cafe Bays, Ubirushalmi Sham Perekale, Falacha Gimel, Bebarachos Perektes. About this Maimar Razal, about Tipaim. Vain Lukudi Torah Hai Rizal Tilim Perek Dalid, Pedalid. B'taimim mitzvos Larachav, Zal Pashas Yisrael, Pasoglo Signov. I guess he's going to talk about Tashlumei Kefil and Taimim mitzvos. Ryan Gerz Kodesh Dalar B'Lukutei Torah Pinchas Al Parshas Tzav B'Shira Shirim Dibur Maschil Kol Dodi about Hosafos Torah or Biur Kisisa. Look in all these places. Ryan Rokeach Simin Shinayin Zayin B'Shut Rivash Simin Kuv Kafei B'Tur Masadesh and Simin Reish Nun Daled Ryan Borachim HaKadosh B'Reshis Aleph Pasuk Test Dibur Maschil V'Nira. Look in all these Amar Makomos about the concept of Tipaim. Yalos mein nukvinu bebezofanim bepnimis ubechitzonis, because the elevation of the feminine waters from below is in two ways, in an inner way and an external way. I guess that's the Tipaim, the inner and the external. There's also what it says that Moshe drew close to the darkness, that there was the Elokim, that from the darkness and the cloud, this caused a reflected light. That's why it says that there's the Elokim was there in the darkness, because that was, you go into the darkness and it causes a reflected light, which corresponds with Elokim. Very much because it says, and now it says, show me your vision. I guess in the cleft of the rock is also some kind of hidden, covered place. So show me your vision there. That's the reflected light. So when Moshe was in the rock, it seems to say that he saw a reflected light. It comes specifically from the concept of the hiding, which is my dove in the cleft of the rock. Now that your vision is beautiful, it's the concept of tiferes, shenase keser, which becomes keser. V'hainu Inyan Gimel Gavnei HaKeshes, and that Tiferes is the three colors of the rainbow: Chifra, Sumak, Yarok, white, and red and green. Tiferes Nase Hiskalalus Chesed V'Gvura. Through Tiferes, you have the inclusion of kindness and strictness together. That's the concept of the mare, of the vision, the beautiful vision. So that I'm trying to figure out how it fits in from either below to above or above to below. The Tiferes that becomes Keser, maybe it's the Gilui from above that gets reflected, becomes Keser. That seems to be what it is. But the concept is Ki Ikra Alas Mein Nukvin, because the main concept of the elevation of the feminine waters, Hu Mimashinofal B'Shviras HaKelim, the Olam HaTohu, is that which fell down from the breaking of the vessels of the world of Tohu. That's what you're elevating. That the world of Tohu was in dots, so to speak, separate points. And that did not get included one with the other. And that's why they, so to speak, fell down. So how to fix that is through inclusion and unity. The Tiferes, which becomes the Hakah of the Or Choser. That's the middle pole of Tiferes that unites the kindness and strictness. And through this, you draw down the infinite light, may be blessed. That's why the main union of Zon Nukva is through Tiferes. And therefore, also the elevation of the feminine waters also has to be from Tiferes of Nukva. Bikishutin Azla, that she goes with jewelry. The beauty of the feminine is so to speak, represented by the jewelry, and that's the Tiferes. So the feminine elevation, the arousal that the feminine can cause is through looking beautiful, and so to speak, having jewelry on. And that is the concept that she should be in a way of my beloved is beautiful. And the concept of the beauty comes from this inclusion of the three colors, like we said, which is Tiferes. That is the inclusion of love and fear and beautifying, which is the idea of to gaze upon the beauty of the king. So therefore, that's why the rainbow is specifically in the day of the cloud. That are elevated, the sparks of Tohu that fell in the animalistic soul, and a reflected light. That you should elevate the feminine waters with love and fear. So through this, because of the hiding and the arousal from below, you draw down the arousal from above, the masculine waters. And this is what it means, that the kashto, his keshes, will dwell in the Eitan. Like we said, you draw down from Keser, or Yesod of Abba, to Yesod of Zah. Like, and that's the concept of my covenant of peace will not falter. Like we said, that is Yesod of Atik. And this is what it says, that through this you will no longer have a flood. Because the mabul, the flood, comes from the world of Tohu. So if you're fixing the world of Tohu, you will no longer have a flood. Because that's the concept of having too much light more than the vessel can handle. And through this, the vessels were broken. And that's the concept of the flood. Or Parshas Noach al pasuk mayim rabim chulu achal yidei hakesher shiv'anan. But through the rainbow in the cloud, shumashir mitohu nichlo b'bechinas tikun, which is the idea of that through tohu, that tohu gets included in tikun, that you fix this through the elevation. Through this you won't have any flood anymore. So back to the beginning of the Maamar's pasuk. And this is what Yehonathan told David. Then 3 days will be the Rosh Chodesh, and you'll go down. So what does it mean in 3? Talking about those 3 colors that we mentioned. So you remember, David is Malchus, and Yehonathan is Yisod. So Malchus is going to go down. You'll have these 3 colors. Lios Bechinas Yafe At Rayasi, to have my beloved is beautiful. Marech Nave, and your vision is pleasant. And that's specifically through going down very far. The Yerida into the darkness. Specifically when my dove is in the cleft of the rock, in the hidden level, and the hidden step. That's when it says that your vision is beautiful. That is when Malchus goes down to the Noga to make purifications. This, that you had a blemish in the breaking of the vessels. Avraham, that Avraham, that came out from him, Ishmael, and so forth. Yitzchak Chulu, and Yitzchak had Esav. Yitzchak Chulu, Vabirurim hem milifnim meluch melech, and these purifications come. What are you elevating from the concept of before you were kings for Israel, the concept of the kings of Esav? And that is through bending oneself and changing oneself, and placing yourself like the leftovers in humility. And through this you change the attributes of kindness and strictness of the klippos. And like, remember, we're saying we need these 3 midos, so you need to change these midos to kedusha. So the kindness is the greatness and the haughtiness of the klippa. Lios gadol, to be great, begova and height, vigaon, gadol begova vigaon, to be high and mighty, so to speak. Vagvurahu hakamtsanos legarmei, and gvura is the strictness, and in klippa this is to withhold and to have only things for yourself. And through placing yourself like leftovers, you change these 2 attributes. That is, you will be for me a segol, a treasure from all the nations. Like a segol that has 3 dots. That through the lowest point of the segol, which is the humility, the lowliness ideas, that changes the other 2 dots, the kindness and the strictness of the animalistic soul, to be included in holiness, and that's the concept of the segol. This is segula. It says Vishlosha. There's also the concept of, and 3 you'll go down, that you'll go very far down, that is, that you'll place yourself like leftovers, like dregs, and through this vishilashta, through how? Through shtirid me'od. And then you'll become vishilashta bebechinas segol, the concept of the 3 dots of segol and the 3 attributes. Now in dots, it's the concept of the segol, which are the 3 points of chagas. That is, that in the dots you have 2 dots. v'nekuda tachtona, and a lower stat. Well, b'neginos v'taimim, but that's only in the nekudos. But when you're singing it, and bechinas sigol ta, it's the 3 dots on top. Nekuda milamaila, the dot is on top. Al gabi is nekudas, it's above the 2 dots. Bechinas keser chachma bina, and then it becomes the keser chachma bina. That's the like mistama the orchos there. Then it becomes the dot below, from below becomes the keser, and then they become chachma and bina. That the crown is above, and it's all one. Because the crown of beauty, Ima nasa keser leza, becomes the keser of ziranpin. Like we said, do you have the concept of bina and the concept of malchus? That's the like he mentioned by the keshes, you have Bein Elokim, Bein Kol Nefesh Chaya. The Elokim is the concept of Bina above, and Nefesh Chaya is the concept of Malchus. So the Keshes is a breeze between these two concepts and levels. And similarly it says by Malchus in the time to come, that the woman of valor will be the crown to her husband, and so forth.